Hi everyone! Welcome to this presentation about comma splices, run-on sentences, and how to fix them, offered by St. Leo University's Center for Academic Vision and Excellence. Throughout this video, I'm going to talk about comma splices and run-on sentences, as well as how to address them in your writing. I know I've had some trouble with these myself, so I hope I can provide you with some helpful tips going forward. Throughout the examples in this video, there are going to be some independent and dependent clauses. Before continuing, please check out our video on independent and dependent clauses. Look at this paragraph. Although he had never considered it, thievery was not a respectable career choice. Tony was dishonest. He stole hubcaps for a living. He was eventually caught and he had to serve his time in prison. While he was there, he began to regret his crimes. After many years of practicing cooking, Tony became a professional ramen chef. When he was released, he opened his own restaurant. Notice how some sentences seem to be blended, while others are cut off too early. We'll go through this paragraph step by step and see how we can improve it. Now let's talk about comma splices and run-on sentences. A comma splice occurs when only a comma separates two independent clauses, and a run-on or fused sentence occurs when no punctuation at all separates independent sentences. Look at these examples. Tony is dishonest. He steals hubcaps for a living. Notice how these two independent clauses are separated by a comma. This is a comma splice. They are two independent sentences and should therefore be separated by a period instead. For example, Tony is dishonest, period. He steals hubcaps for a living. A period is the correct punctuation because it separates the two complete thoughts. Take a look at the other example. He was released from prison. He became a professional ramen chef. Again, we have two independent thoughts separated by a comma, when there should be a period there instead. Now let's look at run-on sentences. Take the first example. Tony is dishonest. He steals hubcaps for a living. Notice how these two independent thoughts are not separated by any punctuation at all. This is a run-on sentence. A big indication of a run-on sentence is when two separate thoughts are blended together. When in doubt, always separate complete thoughts with a period before continuing with an additional thought. Let's go back to this example. The correct punctuation would be, Tony is dishonest, period, new sentence, he steals hubcaps for a living. Let's review and summarize how to fix run-on sentences and comma splices. Number 1. Use a comma and a coordinating conjunction between the two independent clauses. Number 2. End one sentence and begin a new sentence separated by a period. Remember, independent clauses are allowed to stand alone because they are complete thoughts. Number 3. Turn one of the independent clauses into a dependent clause with a subordinating conjunction. And number 4. In some situations, you can use a semicolon between two independent clauses. Remember that paragraph we had at the beginning of this presentation? Let's read it again. Although he had never considered it, thievery was not a respectable career choice. Tony was dishonest. He stole hubcaps for a living. He was eventually caught and he had to serve time in prison. While he was there, he began to regret his crimes. After many years of practicing cooking, Tony became a professional ramen chef. When he was released, he opened his own restaurant. Now, taking in what we've learned, let's fix it. Notice how the changes we've made are highlighted in red. Follow along as we read this paragraph together, taking into account the improvements that we've made. Although he never considered it, comma, thievery was not a respectable career choice. Tony was dishonest, so he stole hubcaps for a living. He was eventually caught, comma, and he had to serve time in prison, period. While he was there, comma, he began to regret his crimes. After many years of practicing cooking, comma, Tony became a professional ramen chef, period. When he was released, comma, he opened his own restaurant. Notice how we fixed the comma splices and run-on sentences in this paragraph. It sounds a lot more natural now that the correct punctuation is in place. That's it for this presentation. I hope you've been able to learn a few things about how to fix comma splices and run-on sentences. I'm confident you can take these points and apply them to your future writing assignments. Thanks for listening.